A man is shot and killed by police in West Valley City. What we're learning about the victim.
Plus, tragedy in eastern Nevada. 2 people are dead and 20 people in the hospital after a bus and semi collide.
And take a look at this wild video in Layton. A truck engulfed in flames. We'll explain why it crossed all lanes of traffic on fire.
Things are heating up. Temperatures about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, and it will only climb, but there is a cool front on the way.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13's Live at 5.
Our top story tonight, at least 2 people are dead and 20 people in the hospital after a semi and a mine bus collided in eastern Nevada.
Nevada Highway Patrol says this happened on State Route 766 north of Carlin just after 6:30 this morning. That road leads to several mines operated by Nevada Gold Mines. Troopers believe the semi crossed the yellow line and hit the mine bus, killing the semi driver and 1 person on the bus. Troopers say 5 people on the bus are in critical condition. We have a crew on the way to Elko County right now. We'll have an update for you tonight on Fox 13 News at 9. And our other top story right now, an investigation underway after a West Valley City police officer shot and killed a man overnight.
And we have learned within the last hour that the victim has been identified as 31-year-old Chad Breinholt. Police say his girlfriend called them to report that he was causing problems at her business that night before he allegedly drove drunk.
Fox 13's Lexi Johnson picks up the story from there.
What we know at this point is this all happened last night during a DUI investigation at City Hall in West Valley City. According to the West Valley City Police Department, a man was taken for DUI processing in the basement of the building. And that's when a fight broke out and an officer fired a gun, which hit the man and ended up killing him. At this time, the investigation is still in the early stages and officers are still investigating exactly what happened. So we're not exactly sure why the fight happened in the first place or which officers were even involved. That information hasn't been released just yet.
I'm not sure if there are security cameras in that area, but I can tell you that our officers are equipped with body-worn cameras. There were several officers on scene during this incident, and we do know that body camera video does exist from this incident.
The police department says they'll release body camera video at a later time if it's appropriate. And in order to stay impartial, Salt Lake City Police are investigating this incident, and the district attorney had investigators on scene as well last night. The officer who fired the weapon wasn't seriously hurt, but is now on administrative leave, which is, of course, protocol for situations like this. In West Valley City, Lexi Johnson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A man is dead after rolling his SUV on I-15 in Salt Lake City overnight. UHP says the driver was northbound near 1500 South when he sideswiped the barrier and flipped over. He was thrown from the vehicle and pronounced dead at the scene. Troopers say alcohol and drugs did play a factor here. The driver was also not wearing a seatbelt. Fox 13 is a partner in the Zero Fatalities campaign to end deaths on Utah roads. To learn more about what you can do to keep Utah roads safe, head over to fox13now.com.
We have a traffic alert to tell you about right now in Cottonwood Heights. Tomorrow between 8 and 5 o'clock, the westbound I-215 ramp will be closed as crews install overhead signs. Drivers will be detoured north on Highland Drive, then east on 6200 South before returning to I-215. So keep that in mind as you hit the road tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow will be a nice, warm, somewhat cooler day than what we've seen in the past year with the high 90s.
Yeah, Breck is back. Thanks for coming back, Breck. And you have good news for us, maybe?
Well, we do see a little bit of a cool down, but it's not happening tomorrow. No, we're heading the opposite direction, heating things up as we found temperatures today warmer than yesterday, but hanging on to the sunshine. Had mostly clear skies across the state. Let's go throughout the state and find out what's going on. Here's a scene for a look from our Oquirrh Mountain camera. This is looking southward across the Salt Lake Valley, northern Utah County. Yeah, mostly clear skies. A little hazy out there, but not a big concern with the air quality. Blue skies, though, as you can see in St. George's, temperatures close to triple digits right now. Things have been heating up. Also noticing here, winds picking up throughout the afternoon now as we turn towards extreme northern Utah, Cache Valley. Beautiful day as well. Take a look. Several boats on the lake. You might as well be out there because, yeah, look at these temperatures right now. Warmer than yesterday, still hanging on to summer. Several locations in the 90s, upper 90s, as you can see in St. George, even low 90s towards Vernal and Price. Looking at the temperature change over the past 24 hours, notice across northern Utah, we're finding afternoon highs anywhere between 5 to 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. So we cranked up the heat rather rapidly. As we show you the winds across the state, Nothing of great significance, but we are finding winds picking up out of the south, particularly across western Utah, anywhere between 10 to 20 miles per hour. Those south winds, an indication that we do have a cool front on the way. When does it get here? I'll show you coming up in just a bit.
Thanks, Breck. A pickup truck caught fire this afternoon in the middle of a busy intersection in Layton. Take a look at this video. This is from a witness, and it shows the flames just engulfing that truck. Layton Fire says this all happened around 1:45 on Antelope Drive, and the driver did not even realize that his truck was on fire until someone else told him. So he jumped out of the pickup, and then, as you saw there, it just started rolling across 4 lanes of traffic. Firefighters say thankfully it did hit a fire hydrant, or it would have rolled right into the Target parking lot. The fire was quickly contained, and thankfully no one was hurt. Investigators believe there was a leak in the gas line that was sparked by a hot muffler.
The candidates who will square off in the race to be Salt Lake City's next mayor debated head-to-head today. They met at the Crossroads Urban Center's Poverty Summit. State Senator Luz Escamilla and City Council member Aaron Mendenhall discussed issues related to homelessness and low-income housing, and they presented differing views on solving the issues.
The way we get there is by having resources coming from the state. We cannot stop our collaboration with the state. We can't do this alone in Salt Lake City. We don't even provide the mental health services. We don't have all the capacity for the wraparound services.
But the state is not going to step in and save us from this. And as we heard an hour ago, the state is not doing its job on affordable housing. It is not showing up. And if you look at the funding over the years I've been on the council, the city knows how to and has the political will to do it.
The 16th year the center has hosted this summit.
Ali Haitin is in Spain competing in the World Championships, traveling with the USA Youth Archery Team. Mackenzie Witherspoon says she feels the pressure to uphold the USA's reputation of doing well. The team competed against 60 other countries to win the gold medal. Mackenzie says finding room to breathe helps her be in the moment and shoot that straight arrow after prepping for 9 months.
You've done everything you can to go and succeed and just do your best and do very well, and then just to shoot your shot and get the good arrows out of the way so you can just, enjoy the moment.
Congratulations, Mackenzie. She says she'll get right back to practicing as soon as she gets home from Madrid.
A future Olympian right there. Well, still to come, they faced a lot of controversy after 2 deadly plane crashes overseas, but the Boeing 737 MAX jets could be making a comeback. We'll tell you more.
And we'll show you how you can speak your mind about how to build a better community in the Wasatch Front. We'll be right back. This just into the Fox 13 newsroom. Police in American Fork need your help to find this missing woman, 29-year-old Neva Irene Kier. Police say she was last seen at 3:30 this morning walking around wearing no shoes. Police believe Neva is endangered. If you know where she is, call police right away. And in national news, President Trump and other world leaders are meeting in France this weekend for this year's G7 summit. They will highlight issues like global economic downturn and climate change.
Fox News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts has the story.
The weather is perfect. The guest is fantastic.
In the wake of escalating tensions in the Middle East, the Amazon rainforest burning, and the global economy trembling, world leaders are coming together on France's Atlantic coast for 3 days of talks.
I think everybody's getting along, and I think we'll accomplish a lot this weekend, and I look forward to it.
President Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron having a private lunch ahead of the G7 summit in Biarritz. Macron, hosting the summit, says the leaders have many foreign policy issues on the table to discuss. However, the pressing topic seems to be the global economy, in which many of the powers believe stems from the U.S. and China trade war.
We will discuss as well about the economic global situation, how to decrease tensions and fix the situation in terms of trade exchanges.
On Friday, President Trump announced an increase in tariffs on Chinese goods in response to trade war retaliation with Beijing, and going on to say the U.S. economy is still in great shape.
I think we're doing very well. Our economy is doing great. We're having a little spat with China, and we'll win it.
Meanwhile, thousands of demonstrators taking to the streets protesting against economic and climate policies embraced by the world's leading industrial nations.
We are determined to act and tell them that they are not going in a good direction with the climate and with other things.
The formal meetings, both G7 and the bilateral meetings that President Trump will have with world leaders, begin tomorrow morning as the president meets with the new UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Johnson has got problems of his own, preparing his country for what may be a hard exit from the European Union sometime later this year. In Saint-Jean-de-Luz, France, John Roberts, Fox 13 News, Utah.
An Illinois patient has died, and officials say it could be the first vaping-related death in the country. The patient contracted a serious lung disease and then later died. Illinois public health officials say that this may be only the tip of the iceberg here. They've seen a sharp increase in similar cases of people with severe lung damage who had recently admitted to vaping, and there could be as many as 40 nationwide, including several right here in Utah.
The Better Business Bureau is warning about an email scam, and it says you could fall victim to. It's called sextortion. The scammer will send you an email claiming to have images or videos of you watching pornography or engaging in other compromising activities. They'll then threaten to release the photos to everyone you know unless you pay them off. The BBB says threats like this are bogus. If you receive an email like this, report it to the FBI or the BBB.
And in Florida, a woman is facing charges after she allegedly left her female pit bull mix die by leaving the dog inside a hot car for several hours. The owner says she told deputies that she left the air conditioner running, but a Walmart employee says when he opened the door, hot air was blowing. She says she wasn't in the store very long, but surveillance cameras show the dog was left inside the car for about 3 hours. The thermometer stopped working when it hit 107 degrees. She's out on bond right now and is expected to face a judge next month.
A Florida man who fatally shot someone over a parking spot in 2018 is now facing up to 30 years in prison on manslaughter charges. It brings an end to a week-long trial that highlighted Florida's controversial Stand Your Ground law. Meredith Wood has more.
Now we can start putting the pieces back together and move on.
Closure for the father of Marquise McLaughlin. More than a year after Michael Draka fatally shot his son outside a convenience store in Clearwater, Florida. The 2018 incident erupted after Draka confronted McLaughlin's girlfriend over a handicapped parking spot. Surveillance video shows McLaughlin coming out of the store to defend her and shoving Draka to the ground. That's when Draka pulled out his weapon and fired the deadly shot.
We're thankful that the jury saw what we saw what everybody saw in that video. That a parking lot vigilante with an axe to grind murdered Marquise McLaughlin in cold blood.
Draka, who didn't take the witness stand, used Florida's Stand Your Ground law as a defense for justifiable homicide. The defense team said their client believed he was in danger after McLaughlin knocked him down. Ultimately, after 6 hours of deliberation, the jury disagreed.
The defendant is guilty of manslaughter as charged.
Draka's attorneys expressed their condolences to McLaughlin's family.
We're, happy that, they got the justice that they were seeking.
Draka will be sentenced in early October. I'm Meredith Wood reporting.
Some architects in Murray are looking to shape what our communities look like for the next generation, and they're looking for the public's input. It's all being spearheaded by leaders at Utah Valley University's new School of Architecture. They're looking to help continue the growth we're seeing on the Wasatch Front, as well as highlight what it takes to revitalize our communities right now.
There's been so many changes in our state in the last number of decades, and we're looking at trying to find ways to just create communities that are more engaging, more interactive, more friendly to families, pedestrians.
The workshop is called Building Cities and Neighborhoods That People Love. It's happening from 8:30 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon this Thursday and Friday at the Desert Star Theater. That's on State Street in Murray. If you'd like to attend, you're asked to register online at classicistutah.org. The 5th annual Made in Utah Festival is happening right now at the Gateway. It's a great place to see and sample local art and food, as well as hear from some local music from local bands. The magazine Utah Stories puts on the event, and it says it's a way for local businesses to network and for the community to see what makes Utah unique. The festival runs until 8 o'clock tonight.
Celebrating their 11th year today, Be Well Utah hosted a free fair helping families focus on their health. Thousands gathered this morning at University of Utah Health kicked off the day with a family 5K walk and run. The crowd filled Rice Eccles Stadium, competing in a variety of activities promoting better living, including educational booths and free health screenings.
It's a beautiful day to come out. It's free, it's fun, it's focused on our families, getting healthy. There's tons of screening, free food, activities, lots of excitement.
Now, unfortunately, that event wrapped up this afternoon, but Be Well Utah plans on continuing educating the community on healthy lifestyles. They say their goal is providing you the tools to stay healthy. They said a beautiful afternoon.
Really is. You know,
Breck is back.
Huh?
I'm back here. Yeah, that's right.
Did you bring back some cooler temperatures?
You know, we got a little bit of a cool down Thursday, Friday. If you remember, yesterday it was in the 80s. Today, back into the 90s.
So no.
No, it was short-lived for sure. But we're going to see some cooler temperatures as we look over the next few days. Not for tomorrow, though. And again, today we found afternoon highs above normal, getting back into the 90s along the Wasatch Front. Let's go elsewhere across the state, getting a look at those current conditions. We're down in the Dixie area. Right now, we're at 98 degrees. It's a little breezy. Winds out of the west at 18 miles per hour. Starting to see that wind direction change a little bit more southerly. That's all due to an approaching cool front that we need to talk about. But first, let's take a look at those temperatures. As I mentioned, along the Wasatch Front, we're once again back into the 90s, at least in Salt Lake City, Provo. Winds not too strong. Salt Lake City, a little breezy right now. But as we look ahead, and specifically as we look currently along the Wasatch Front, we do have air quality, a little bit of a concern, moderate right now. It looked a little hazy out there. Tomorrow we're going to see similar situations. The forecast is actually as we move into Monday, Tuesday, high pressure will build in, strengthen. That means air quality decreasing. We could move into that orange or unhealthy category by the middle of the week. But looking ahead, as we are found temperatures today above normal. Tomorrow, once again, maybe even a little bit warmer by a degree or two with some winds to go along with it. Due to that cool front that gets here, looks like tomorrow afternoon initially hitting northern and then pushing through central Utah. Now, this cool front's not going to have a widespread impact. It's going to have the strength to at least get through northern Utah, maybe into central Utah. And it looks like we'll keep things fairly hot as we look across the south. Now, current watches and warnings in place right now from the National Weather Service. You see all that in peak, now incorporating both the Wasatch Front towards western Utah as well. That's a fire weather warning with a combination of winds expected as we look towards tomorrow and low humidity. It's not a good situation. Ingredients that if a fire was to start, boy, it would spread rather quickly. So we need to do our part to make sure we don't start any fires. As across northern Utah, things are dry. We have hardly any clouds across the state. And I mentioned this cool front. It's just a little bit further north, sweeping through areas such as Oregon, down through southern Idaho. Associated with this system, we have clouds, a few showers well north of the state. This is another dry, cool front that we saw, very similar that hit Thursday night, bringing the cooler weather on Friday. It's going to be mainly clipping northern Utah. Let's lay things out, looking at our computer models here this afternoon as we push through tonight. Cool front approaching tomorrow morning. It's right on our doorstep. Notice from the computer models, not a lot of cloud cover, no showers. Again, it's a dry, cool front. We'll see that impact come tomorrow as it sweeps through in the afternoon. Stalls out just throughout south of Utah County into central Utah. Again, the south won't see much of this cooler air, but northern Utah, especially moving to Monday and Tuesday, we see the 80s returning, but that's also short-lived as we'll crank up the heat once again by the middle of the week. Tonight's overnight lows not as cool as we found over the past couple of mornings. We'll get down into the 60s and low 70s. Still decent enough where you could open up those windows, allow some of that cooler air, especially as we look towards northeastern Utah. Looks like we'll find overnight lows in Price down in the 60s. Looking at Cedar City as well. Tomorrow, I mentioned it's warmer. Mid to upper 90s along the Wasatch Front. Even 90s over towards Vernal. Looks like temperatures in the triple digits, at least in Moab, Bullfrog, Dixie area as well. It's sunny, but a little bit more breezy. Of course, I mentioned that red flag warning in place. We'll find sustained winds 15 to 25 miles per hour, maybe a little bit stronger in the Dixie area. You're hanging on to the sunshine. Now, we begin to introduce a little moisture by the middle of the week. That could give us a possibility of an isolated shower on Thursday, I should say, but looking like for the next several days, overnight lows in the 70s, but afternoon highs in the triple digits. Now for northern Utah, 90s today, 80s Monday and Tuesday. but back into the 90s. So as I said, that cooler air, it's not horrible. We're avoiding the triple digits, but 80s do feel nice right now.
They feel so nice.
They do.
And it gets cool at night.
And we're not seeing that cool air that kind of reminds us that, hey, maybe fall's around the corner. No, we're not even to the corner.
But it is.
We're not
It is
even
around the
to the
corner.
corner.
It's not that far away. It'll be snowing before we know it.
That's right.
John, don't say that word.
But it will be. We all know it will be.
Thanks, Rick. Still to come, protests in Hong Kong continue to boil over. See how one major company is taking a stand.
And hear how one pill could be a game changer when it comes to fighting heart disease and strokes. In today's Money Watch, another company is taking action online in connection to the protests in Hong Kong.
Yeah, Google says it banned more than 200 YouTube channels due to misinformation around those protests. And this comes after Facebook and Twitter took similar actions. It also comes after Google and its video platform face scrutiny from lawmakers regarding its ability to control misinformation that goes viral on its site, particularly as the 2020 presidential elections near.
And more signs that Boeing is ready to ramp back up its production of the grounded 737 MAX jets. Reuters reports the company has now told suppliers it expects to be making 52 of the jets a month starting in February. The new schedule depends on regulators allowing the jets to get back in the air later this year.
And more women are staying single longer, and that's great news for Nike and Lululemon. Here's why. Morgan Stanley estimates that 45% of prime working age women will be single by 2030, and this is partly because single women, and single men for that matter, tend to spend more time exercising than their married counterparts.
Well, ahead in our next half hour, he was shot and killed in West Valley City. Now friends and family of Nico Jardine are calling for an end to the violence.
After a devastating fire scoured the area,
we were able to rehab all of the dozer line, all the fire lines, reseed.
We're getting a first look at the regrowth from the Pole Creek and Bald Mountain fires.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Live at 5:30.
Welcome back. Today we're getting a first look at the regrowth in the areas where the Pole Creek and Bald Mountain fires burned last year.
120,000 acres were scorched in those flames. Fox 13's Aaron Cox joined the Forest Service to look at what's happened to those acres since.
The Forest Service has had to work on 90 miles of trail here after the Pole Creek and Bald Mountain fires scoured the area last year, and this is just the beginning of what they have to work on.
I would say in the burned areas and the burned trees that have come down, we've probably seen over 5,000 to 6,000 trees come down.
2,500 more trees were cut down by the Forest Service to make the areas safe again for the public.
We have people that come here to camp, fish, hike, just view the scenes, and of course everybody wants to come in and view the effects from this fire.
A fire that burned too close to homes. This is what the area looked like a year ago.
We are going to see the burn scar, and that is hard for people to see.
The Bald Mountain fire blazed through, leaving the trees and ground charred. Now the scar is still there, but peeking out between the trees, a flower and green.
We're seeing a lot of the native grasses, a lot of the native aspen and different shrubs come back in due to the heavy snowfall that we had and the amount of rain that we had all spring.
Rebuilding fences, reseeding, Payson Canyon is slowly springing back to life.
We're also continue to replant a lot of our native shrubs, a lot of our native grasses, and we will continue to work on the rebuild of any trails that did see erosion damage.
15 miles of trails still remain closed off. The Forest Service says they are watching 40,000 acres in danger of becoming a mudslide. In Payson Canyon, Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Members of the West Valley City community came together today to seek justice for a teen who was shot and killed outside his home. Friends and family of 19-year-old Nico Jardine held a peaceful community march outside Hunter High School. On July 14th, family says Nico was trying to stop a fight when he was shot and killed, but police have yet to arrest anybody for the murder. Now they're asking anybody who may have information or who may have been involved in what happened to come forward.
Say something. You can say something anonymously. You know, you expected me to take care of your children, parents. You expected me to stand up for them. I now want you to stand up for my son, my grandson.
And if you have any information about the shooting, please call West Valley City Police.
In southern Utah, a hurricane man is behind bars after allegedly driving a stolen car while pretending to be a fireman. According to the St. George News, police pulled over 34-year-old Danny Dutton here after someone saw him moving a basketball hoop from someone's house. Now, Dutton told police he was a fireman, but police didn't buy it. Police also found out he was driving someone else's car without their permission. Dutton is now behind bars on $25,000 bond.
Salt Lake County Animal Services held its 5th annual Pet-A-Palooza today in West Jordan with plenty of furry faces to go around. Let's check out the video of these adorable pets.
Aww.
The Pet Adoption Extravaganza is one of the largest pet adoption events in the entire county. Hundreds of animals from pet rescues all across Utah were there ready to adopt. Organizers say the event is extra special because dogs who already have forever families are invited to attend as well. Pet-A-Palooza wrapped up at 4 p.m. today, but if you're interested in adopting a rescue animal, we have a link to that information on our website at fox13now.com. Watch dogs.
I know. I'm really glad we run those stories, but I also hate it because I just want to bring home all the dogs.
And let's bring our dogs to the set. Think that would go over well with the folks up here?
Yeah.
Probably not. But
our dog's sitting up here running around.
A few of us do that, right, here in studio? All right, let's turn to the weather forecast. We talk about adoption. Let's adopt some cooler air, which we did yesterday with temperatures actually below normal, but a quick rebound today across the state as we found afternoon highs anywhere between 5 degrees above normal. Hanging on to the sunshine. It's been a beautiful day across the state. A little breezy, turning right now in southeastern Utah, Moab. A few high clouds around. And looking at our Salt Lake Tribune camera, downtown Salt Lake City, looking southward across the Salt Lake Valley. A little hazy out there, not a big concern with the air quality. Moderate level currently with that yellow for the air quality, at least across most of the Wasatch Front. Temperatures, well, as I mentioned, warmer than yesterday. We're in the 90s in Salt Lake City. Some spots still hanging on to the 80s. Morgan, Ogden, Bountiful right now. 70s in Park City. You can see in Provo, once again, as we made it up into the 90s and keeping it there here for the next couple of hours. Currently in Vernal, we're at 91 degrees, 99 in Green River. Temperatures close to 90 degrees in Cedar City. And again, in St. George, we're at 98 degrees. It is dry across the state. A few high clouds rolling through southwest Wyoming into extreme eastern Utah. But looking at radar, no showers, nor are we going to see a concern of that. We're looking over your hour-by-hour forecast along the Wasatch Front. We're keeping it clear. Heading into the evening hours, looks like a beautiful moonlit sky tonight with temperatures getting down into the 70s along the Wasatch Front. So not as cool as we've been seeing over the past couple of mornings, but some cooler air looking to track in. When does it get here? I'll let you know coming up in just a bit.
Breck, thank you. So world news now, and concerns are growing about the impact on the environment of huge wildfires in the Amazon rainforest. And now there's blame going around when it comes to who started it. Fox News correspondent Kitty Logan is in London tonight with the latest.
It's the world's largest rainforest, and a record number of fires are burning. Satellite images show plumes of grey smoke billowing across Brazil. The indigenous inhabitants of the Amazon face the most immediate risk.
We're sad because the forest is dying at every moment. We feel the climate changing and the world needs the forest.
Many blame Brazil's government for not dealing with illegal deforestation. French President Emmanuel Macron says the fires are of international concern, tweeting, quote, "Our house is burning, literally. The Amazon rainforest, the lungs which produce 20% of our planet's oxygen, is on fire. It is an international crisis." Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro hit back at President Macron, accusing him of playing politics. He blamed non-governmental organisations for starting the fires to make him look bad. But the UN is backing the French leader, saying the Amazon fires have global consequences.
Sustaining forests is crucial in our fight against climate change.
Environmentalists say this year is worse because emboldened farmers are deliberately setting land alight to clear it for cattle grazing, encouraged by the government turning a blind eye. Fires break out every year in the Amazon during the dry season. Analysts say only time will tell if those fires will reduce to normal levels as rains resume. G7 leaders say they'll discuss the Amazon fires at the summit in France this weekend. Whether Brazil likes it or not, they see this as an international issue. In London, Kitty Logan, Fox News.
The The internet, of course, has changed the way that we learn, and that's especially true for health advice.
But when it comes to our kids, what seems like a good idea online may actually put them at risk. Barb Consiglio has the story.
A couple little drops in each container, okay?
Nikki Chaves says the internet is full of great projects for her 3-year-old Lofton.
We can find a lot of good ideas. They don't always turn out like the pictures, but we at least try.
If her art project doesn't go exactly to plan, Lofton doesn't mind.
I think our red turned into brown.
But there are countless online DIY projects that not only fall short of the hype, but can actually pose a danger. Homemade versions of safety-related products, everything from ointments to furniture, get shared across the internet thousands of times.
They probably don't meet the safety criteria that are, or the standards for those product types.
A popular example, homemade sunscreen.
The way the photographs are taken, the way the information's portrayed, it looks good.
But be careful. Researchers at the Center for Injury Research and Policy at Nationwide Children's Hospital studied do-it-yourself sunscreen recipes posted on Pinterest. The study found nearly all the pins claimed some level of sun protection, many including specific SPF levels up to 50.
Some of the claims would offer recipes with ingredients that we know are not scientifically effective in offering that kind of broad spectrum coverage.
Commercially available sunscreens are closely regulated by the FDA. They're required to list all ingredients and have a proven level of both UVA and UVB protection. That's not the case for these DIY versions.
When we don't know the effectiveness of homemade sunscreen recipes that have been shown online, we're taking a risk with our children, with ourselves, and that risk is a really bad sunburn or skin cancer in the future.
I think parents get tripped up on the words all natural or homemade, and they automatically think, well, it's homemade, it's got to be the best product, but that's not always the case.
Which is why it's best to stick to regulated products when it comes to your child's health or safety. At Nationwide Children's Hospital, this is Barb Consiglio reporting.
If you have visited Disneyland or California Adventure this month, you may have been exposed to the measles. Health leaders say a teen from New Zealand visited the parks on August 12th and stayed at a nearby hotel from the 11th to the 15th. Anyone who was there during those times and starts to develop symptoms should call their doctor.
A relatively inexpensive medication that's a combination drug could be a key in reducing heart attack and stroke risks. It's called a polypill. The combination pill tested contained a statin, aspirin, and 2 blood pressure medications in one. Researchers in Iran found that people who took the pill cut their risk of a heart attack or stroke by 40%. This polypill is so cheap, researchers say it could even be sold in third world countries.
And undetected concussions could soon be a thing of the past. According to a study, researchers are developing a blood test that could help detect brain injuries when an CT scan fails to do so. The study is billed as one of the largest brain injuries efforts of its kind.
Later in sports, who predicted the Utes will reach the national championship game this season? It's a name you'll recognize. And could Joe Ingles exact his revenge on Jazz teammate Donovan Mitchell? USA Australia round 2 highlights. Back in 60 seconds.
Joining us, one of the biggest rock bands of all time will now be known across the universe.
That's because NASA has named a rock after the legendary band, the Rolling Stones. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
The music of the Rolling Stones has reached countless people, earning them the moniker of the world's greatest rock and roll band. But now their influence is extending far beyond just this world. NASA is honoring the iconic band by naming a rock after them, found on Mars. The Rolling Stones rock is a little larger than a golf ball. It was first seen back in November when the InSight lander touched down on the red planet. This animated video from NASA shows how the lander's thrusters propelled the rock to roll forward about 3 feet after likely being stationary on Mars for an indeterminate amount of time. Actor Robert Downey Jr. made the announcement Thursday at the Rolling Stone show in Pasadena, California, also the home of the NASA station overseeing the lander.
Some scientists at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, in a fit of fandom and clever association, they put forth, why don't we name it Rolling Stones Rock? So Charlie, Ronnie, Keith, and Mick, they were in no way opposed to the notion.
Frontman Mick Jagger says they were delighted by the honor.
NASA has given us something we've always dreamed of, our own rock on Mars. I can't believe it. I want to bring it back and put it on our mantelpiece.
The Rolling Stones rock is an informal name, but NASA says it will still appear on working maps of the planet. Team members have a long history of nicknaming stones and outcrops on Mars surface missions. In New York, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, in today's Hot Shots, we've got some big news for Avengers fans next year.
Like every year, we have big news for Avengers fans. But first, take a look at this video. A couple in California was just driving down the highway near Santa Clarita when they noticed a guy in a Tesla in the next lane over who looked like he was sleeping. Yeah, he does. Apparently, he was going about 70 to 5 miles an hour, but the car just stayed in its lane the whole time. It may have been on autopilot, but Tesla says autopilot is not an invitation to take a snooze. The family who recorded this video did not end up calling police because they say the guy eventually woke up.
That is somewhat scary to see. Well, the Disney Empire adds another feature to its entertainment venues, this time bringing the world of Marvel's Avengers to the Disneyland Resort. Disney Parks has announced it's creating Avengers Campus, a Marvel-inspired complex within California Adventure Park. Next year, visitors can become interconnected with Marvel's Avengers World of Superheroes. No word yet on which characters will be there, but fans speculate Hawkeye, Black Panther, Captain America, and Spider-Man could make an appearance. Disney has applied for permits for a retail center, microbrewery, and a meet and greet area for the campus.
Okay, as a new mom, I really appreciate this next story. Sky Harbor International Airport in Phoenix is making it easier for moms on the go to nurse their babies in a private, quiet place. It's all thanks to the new Mamava suites in Terminal 4. It features a portable suite with a door that locks, comfortable benches, a fold-down table, and even electrical outlets for plugging in a breast pump.
All right, changing gears here, getting you ready for the rest of the weekend, upcoming work week as well. It's been nice leading up to Saturday, as yesterday we did find temperatures actually below normal, enjoying 80s. We've been back into the 90s, at least across most of northern Utah. Let's go across the state, though, showing you what's going on. First, as we turn towards southern Utah. Reminder, tomorrow, national parks. You get in free. That's Sunday, so Zion National Park, at least tomorrow, looks like Mother Nature will be cooperating, bringing some beautiful sunny weather. It's going to be toasty, though, as we've been finding temperatures today in Zion National Park right about 90 degrees. Now turning towards central Utah, Fairview, a few high clouds rolling through right now. And northern Utah, it's mostly clear. It's a little hazy out there, but it's been a pleasant day. Warmer, though. We're back into the 90s in Salt Lake City, Provo as well. Ogden hanging on to the 80s. Winds not much of a factor, at least across most of the valleys. Wasatch Mountain Valleys, though, we've been seeing a breezy afternoon and some stronger winds in central towards southwestern Utah. Not a big concern, but sustained winds, 10 to 20 miles per hour. They're only going to increase as we look towards tomorrow. Now, looking at our computer models, here's our future wind cast. Transitioning tonight, nothing really going on. The winds do calm down. Tomorrow, though, in preparation of a cool front, particularly across northern into northeastern Utah, some stronger winds. We could see wind gusts in excess of 30 miles per hour, but sustained winds 10 to 25 miles per hour with the combination of a cool front moving through, which is going to be dry and keeping things dry. We have a little bit of a concern from the National Weather Service. We have a red flag warning that will be in place for tonight through tomorrow, and it's incorporating most of northern Utah through northeastern Utah, southwest Wyoming, low humidities, those winds picking up. And again, it's all due to this cool front on its way. And right now we're seeing a push of just some dry air, a few high-level clouds, nothing of concern. You can see nothing showing up on radar. And that'll be the situation as we head into tonight, tomorrow as well. We've got this cool front in place. It's sweeping through come tomorrow. Really going to have most of its impact across northern Utah, and it's just only going to be dropping temperatures. We're going to hang on to the sunshine, not bringing much rain. But looking long range, where are we going from there? So as we show you computer models, once again, I'm going to roll through the next 5 or 6 days. So we've got today heading into tomorrow. As that cool front hitting tomorrow afternoon, it's going to change the flow where it's been westerly or southwesterly to more of a northwesterly flow, transitioning tomorrow night through Monday. You can see that flow coming through. That'll allow temperatures to actually go back down into the 80s as we head into Monday. Heading into Tuesday, we're holding on to the 80s as well, but then high pressure quickly builds back in. In addition, we're going to see a little drag of moisture coming into play, both across southern into central Utah Wednesday into Thursday. So we're going to see a slight chance of maybe seeing some isolated showers. And then it looks like high pressure will be in place for the next several days, which really will allow temperatures to kind of stick up into the 90s and hold on to that summer heat for the next several days thereafter. But Monday and Tuesday, we get a little bit of a break. Now tonight, it's mostly clear skies. Overnight lows in many spots in the 60s, some 70s, even some 50s in some of the higher terrain. Tomorrow, it's slightly warmer than today. And today, afternoon highs were above normal. We're in the low 90s in Salt Lake City, mid to upper 90s in Provo, triple digits Moab, Bullfrog, towards St. George. Now this next cool front is going to be moving through northern Utah, stalling out. Not having much of an impact across the south. As you can see, we're only going to heat things up, keep it hot and toasty until we bring that cloud cover and a slight chance of an afternoon shower on Thursday. But all in all, next 7 days, it's just dry and hot, particularly across southern Utah. Northern Utah, we're going to see that heat, experiencing it tomorrow. A little bit of break Monday and Tuesday. In the middle of the week, we're back into the 90s and just hanging on to that heat as we look towards next weekend as well. So we're not turning a corner yet. We get a little break, we get a little taste, a little cooler air, but it's only a taste.
I feel like they do the Free National Parks Day right now because they see, like, people will see the temperature in St. George and be like, I'm not going to go hike in Zion.
Right. Let's put it for free. I want it like 75, then give it to me
right,
for free.
exactly. Everyone would be there.
Yeah, that's when you hit the, especially Zion in the fall.
Oh, I know.
It's beautiful.
Okay. Thanks, Beck.
On Thursday, a couple of Jazzmen went opposite each other in a World Cup tune-up. Donovan Mitchell and the Americans, as expected, held off Joe Ingles and the Aussies, but the two countries were scheduled to do one more late last night in Melbourne. The Americans carrying an international win streak dating back 13 years, but let's just say this time they got caught off guard. The former Ute, Andrew Bogut, with a nice game, 16 points on 7 of 8 from the field. Then Ingles, with 3.5 left for the Australia lead, dials up 3 of his 15. Donovan trying to will the red, white, and blue back. The 6-point deficit cut in half at 3 following that trifecta there. Mitchell with a dozen, and he put up another one for the tie here, but this time the step back falls short, ending the U.S.'s 78-game win streak. In the process, 98-94 the final.
For us, the whole time it's been about building to get better and better until the World Cup, and obviously this is a great step for us. From that first game in Canada to now, we've really showed the direction we want to play and how we can play. So yeah, it's kind of up to us how we go from here. We can keep building or think we're on top of the world right now after one win.
Leg 2 of the Rocky Mountain Cup is at the Riot tonight. RSL edged out the Rapids on the road back in May to conclude one of the worst starts in MLS history, where Colorado did not win their first game until 12 matches in. However, they are 7-4-6 since that time. But for Real Salt Lake, this late season push is all about solidifying a playoff spot.
You got to be motivated because we're in the 4th spot, can get up higher up in the standings. So that's where the guys want to be. They want to stay. They don't want to just make the playoffs. We want to improve on what we did last year, and I think to improve on what we did last year, we want to try to see if we can host a game.
You know, fighting for that 2nd spot. Obviously, this has some extra motivation with how our fans get to collect a trophy and keep it. So, all in all, we should be ready to go.
This might get the interest of Ute fans. College Game Day was in Miami today for the first FCS football game of the season, where analyst Lee Corso, he was asked to pick his college football playoff teams. And Corso not only has Utah in the Final Four, he has them upsetting Clemson and then facing Alabama in January's national championship game. Very, very interesting there. An early NFL exhibition with the Cardinals at the Vikings. Arizona's future under center, Kyler Murray, fades for Christian Kirk, but he's out of bounds with that catch, so they settle for a field goal. While the other way, Dalvin Cook gaining 85 of his 88 yards on this one play here, with Minnesota taking the game 20-9. The top 2 clubs in Major League Baseball facing off at Dodger Stadium. Justin Turner taking a former Cy Young winner deep in the 3rd. The 2-run shot off CC Sabathia just clearing near the stairwell for LA. The Yankees getting one back in the 4th. The reigning unanimous Rookie of the Year jackknifes one to center. Aaron Judge, good night. And the Pinstripes had the bases full and only one out in the 9th, but Kenley Jansen went to work. Fans Mike Tauchman, followed by Gary Sanchez, the best in the NL over the best in the AL, 2-1. In round 3, the Tour Championship in Atlanta was cut short today after lightning struck a tree and sent debris flying. An incident that sent 6 people to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Tony Finau completed 8 holes and sits 8 strokes back of Justin Thomas for the lead. The $15 million FedEx Cup will resume bright and early tomorrow. That's a nice payoff.
15 million?
Guys are going to have to earn it, though. They're going to have to play up to 30 holes tomorrow. They're going to get going really early and just go all the way through.
And let's go back to baseball for a bit. Those uniforms this weekend, the special Players Weekend uniforms, they're
all
hideous.
white?
They are hideous.
Yeah.
The all white and the all black uniforms.
I think more and more people are starting to think like the Oregon Ducks, just outside of the box, whether you like it or not.
You can't even read the names.
How different can we get? Yeah, it is bizarre. I agree with you completely.
We'll be right back.
I can't disagree.
Live at 5, bust out the maple syrup and go get yourself some waffles or bring us some.
No!
Either
National
way.
Waffle Day?
That looks delicious.
National Waffle. Thanks for stealing my line,
Still
Greg.
time.
On this day back in 1869, the first U.S. patent for a waffle iron was issued.
There he is.
Now there is
I know.
There he is.
plenty of ways to celebrate, of course. You can make your own waffles at home. That's not as fun as going to a restaurant for chicken and waffles. Or, of course, because it is the year 2019,
were they
you can
dipping it
post
in
photos of your waffles on social media.
Eating contest.
They were
Why
like-
take something that's so enticing and make it repulsive?
I thought I only had to deal with Joey Chestnut on July 4th. And now you're bringing him out again.
I prefer pancakes over
Can't do it with
waffles.
waffles.
Ooh, no.
Yeah.
Can't
I like
talk
the little
that way on
crunchiness
National
of
Waffle
the
Day.
waffleness.
Let's be stepping.
Best be steppin'. We're going to leave you with that. Thanks for watching it live at 5.
We'll see you back here tonight at 9
Did you
o'clock.
just create some slang?